You know what time it is? It's time to hang out with Mr. Coop. We're Mr. Cooper, we're Mr. Cooper, we're Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop. We're Mr. Cooper, we're Mr. Cooper, we're Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Bit Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Season 7 is officially over, and now it is time for Season 8. That's right, Season 8, people. Make sure you do go check out the website, thebitscoopwithcoop.com, where you can see episodes from Season 1 to Season 7. Also, big shout-outs to everybody that's watching on Facebook right now, facebook.com/thebitscoopwithcoop. Big shout-outs to everybody on Instagram that's watching on IGTV with this 10-minute preview of it at Big Scoop with Coop. Big shout outs to everybody that's watching on YouTube at the Big Scoop with Coop and on the website www.thebigscoopwithcoop.com. Now guys, today's guest, we have a legend in the building. That's right, you've seen him on the original Predator. You've seen him on Menace II Society. He's done so many movies. You've also seen him on Black Lightning. If you're a fan of Black Lightning, you've seen him up there. That's right, the legendary Mr. Bill Duke. Now, once again, Bill has actually been in a lot of movies that you've seen. Predator, Menace II Society, so many I can name, but it's going to take too long trying to name every movie he's been in. But you also actually seen him recently in Black Lightning, Season 3 of Black Lightning. And here's a clip of him right here. And after this clip, we will have the legendary Bill Duke.
You know we have a doorbell, right?
You don't appear to be in distress.
Yeah, well, I just broke my microwave. Wasting food during food rationing is pretty tragic.
I'm going to exempt your family from rationing.
Don't do that. We don't deserve to be above everybody else.
I need you to accept that you do. You have unique gifts that require unique responsibilities, so unique perks are appropriate.
Look, my dad would never... Why are you here?
The, surveillance system crashed.
That's because I crashed it. It's creepy anyway, you watching me all the time.
Okay, all right. Forget surveillance. Where's Anissa?
She's in the shower. You want to watch her too?
There is a video from your parents on this. They wanted you to have it, and so do I.
Why?
This is not fair, but it's necessary. So I want you to know we're on the same side. If you need anything at all, you can reach me on that phone anytime, day or night.
Hey.
Hi, sweeties.
We're all right, okay? Perfectly fine.
We're just here as a precaution. We'll be home soon, okay? We miss you.
Love you.
Love you.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Bit Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. And of course, like you saw the last clip with Black Lightning with the legendary Bill Duke. And as you see, we have him on the screen right now. Mr. Duke, welcome to the show.
God bless you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, sir. Anytime. Like I was telling everybody, Season 8 is going to be a particular great season for me. You've been doing legendary things in your industry also, for the television and movie industry. And for the people that have seen you, but that don't know, when did you realize that you want to become an actor?
Well, I grew up in a time of segregation, and I'm from Poughkeepsie, New York, and I went to Dutchess Community College, and there's a speech and drama class, Constance Kewen, and she put me in a play called The Emperor Jones by Eugene O'Neill. And when that happened, I got the bug. That's something I really wanted to do. But in those days, the only black person in film was Sidney Poitier. And there was no, well, the other things were comedies and, you know, like different people joking and laughing and stuff. And when I saw him slap that, he was slapped by this white gentleman and he slapped him back in his face.
Right.
I said, that guy's got integrity and pride and everything. I wish I could do that. I told my parents that, and they said, you're crazy, because, you know, Hollywood, and that's just a dream. Be a pragmatist. You're going to go to school and be a doctor because doctors make money. So I went to get some pre-med courses, some anatomy and physiology, in my bedroom, cutting up cats and smelled like formaldehyde. I said, this is not for me. They said, okay, you're always writing in your journal, because I was tall and dark and, you know, very introverted. And I have a disease called dyslexia, so I couldn't communicate well then. And so I took an English class. And I mean, I got an English, scholarship to Boston University, Martin Luther King Scholarship. So in my English class, for the third time, I'd fallen asleep in my Chaucer class. They kicked me out. So I'm there in Boston, not knowing what to do, and my roommate Israel Hicks, who was a great director and producer, said, "Bill, you're always talking about acting. You love it. A black man named Lloyd Richards is up in the drama department. You should go and audition for him." I said, "I'll never get in." He talked me into it. I went up and I auditioned. I got in, and I'm glad that there was no YouTube or cell phones. The next semester, I was dancing across the floor in tights in a ballet class. And I'm glad that nobody saw that, but
we got to find footage. We have to find it somewhere.
But the thing is that Lloyd Richards, who was the first black director on Broadway, directed Raisin in the Sun.
Yes.
From BU, he went to NYU, and I followed him there because he was such an inspiration to me. A mentor, a giver, backer, a great heart. And then he gave me, with Michael Schultz, my first job at the Negro Ensemble Company, Day of Absence. And then he made me his assistant. I came out to LA, and he did a thing for PBS called Gold Watch. And I was an assistant, and I was getting ready to go back to New York. And he says, "No, you stay here. I believe in you. You're going to be okay."
Wow. Now you see how the Lord has like turned everything around from you, because first you were supposed to be a doctor. We'll go to school for a doctor.
That's right.
And now you are one of the most highly recommended actors that's actually been within decades in this industry. And ladies and gentlemen that's watching right now worldwide, I mean, you have to understand Mr. Bill Duke. If you're new to him, he's been around since like 1972, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember him doing, now I was not born yet. I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 1980. But if I'm not mistaken, he did an after school special at ABC in 72. And he blew up. I mean, he kept going. But we're going to get into that in a minute. We definitely are. We will definitely talk about that. But Mr. Duke, also at the same time, what hurdles did you go through when you got into the scene? He said he believed in you, and then you got into acting. What hurdles did you go through to get to where you are today?
It's hard to explain. I don't want to bore people with the longevity of it, but you know, when you come up during a time of segregation,
Yes.
And then the images that were celebrated in those days were called the pretty boys, and they were light complected with good hair, and I was the opposite of that. And so going through those kinds of hurdles, self-doubt, etc. And one of the biggest, I think, problems in our business is it's a business of rejection.
Yes.
And people just say, well, get over it. But if you go up for 4 or 5 auditions a week, and every time someone says no, 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 then you get depressed. You go through things emotionally and stuff. And I unfortunately went to drugs, and that was not a good thing. You know, it was a downhill slide for me, put it that way.
I understand. I definitely understand. Now, the thing is, Mr. Duke, I can say this. A lot of people in the industry today, from television to movies, even the music industry, they get into that addiction with drugs, and they get to the point where they can't come out of it. They get into that rut, and they forget about what they have done before the drugs got into them. And their mind is almost warped, if properly speaking, on that. And it's to the point where they can't come back. How did you make that comeback out of the drug scenario back to where you are today?
There are 2 things that happened. I was literally on the streets in New York City, begging for money. And this one day, this elderly Black woman, must have been in their late 70s, early 80s. I asked her, ma'am, could I have some money, some change? And she just walked past me. And I asked the next person. I felt a tap on my back. I turned around. It was the elderly Black lady. And I said, oh, ma'am, you got some change? And she said nothing for, it seemed like a minute, but it was just a few seconds. And she looked in my eyes and face and she said, baby, do your mama know you out here doing this?
Wow.
See, God sends you messengers. God sends you things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that day, God was in her eyes, her face, she wasn't condemning me. She was really sincere. She felt so bad for me. And so I never begged on the street a day after that.
Wow. Now that's a turnaround.
Big time. And the second thing that saved me was, and I'll never forget her, I love her to this day, Aida Tengamana, who I was going up, I wasn't off the drugs and alcohol yet, and I got in a play called Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death, which a friend of mine, Gilbert Moses, directed on Broadway.
Okay.
And I was late to the play sometimes, and da-da-da-da-da. And the statements, if you're late again, we're going to, And so I was late for that time, and they put somebody else on stage for me. And Aida said, hey, Bill, you're going down, man. I love you. You got to get off the drugs and alcohol. I said, what are you talking about? She said, listen, I'm doing something called transcendental meditation. I'll teach it to you. If you don't like it, fine. So I said, forget about it. Like the week after, something not good happened. And so I said, okay, let's try this. So she gave me the meditation technique. But while I was doing it, I was still taking the drugs and alcohol. And so she said to me, okay, look, if you meditate for the next 2 weeks without taking any drugs or alcohol of any kind, if you still want to take the drugs and alcohol after that, I'll buy you an ounce of anything you want. Wow. I said, bet. Let's do it.
Wow.
So the first 2 or 3 days, I felt a little bit, but not. Mm-hmm. Second 3 days, something started to happen.
Okay.
By the middle of the second week, all the stuff I was missing from how can I say, in myself, in the pain I was trying to kill, dissolved, and I have not taken any drugs since.
Wow. To God be the glory. That is amazing. Because I can picture in your mind when you first started the meditation, you was like, this could be an easy win for me.
That's
Very
right.
easy win.
That's right.
And look at you. And yes, you went through meditation, but you know at the same time, I will say the hand of God touched you.
That's right. Every day. Every day.
Yes. And that's what actually changed you to where you are today.
Yes.
Yes, I have to stop this interview for 1 second to say this. R.I.P. to Kobe. I see your hat. Everybody that's watching, this family of Kobe Bryant in the LA area, we're all praying for you. And I want to say have a healthy recovery from the breakdown, because I know that hurt a lot of people. So I had to say that, honestly. All right.
Thank
now, you. Yes. Now, right now in the year 2020, you know, the movie and television industry has changed a lot. Some people say for the good, some people say for the bad. Where do you lean at on the television and movie industry within the last 30 years? Do you feel like it's gotten better or worse?
I think there are more opportunities, but the thing is that I think where the real opportunities are going to be, and this is my prayer, is that with all of these new media platforms,
Yes.
Hulu, Crackle, YouTube Red, Netflix, Amazon, this goes on and on and on. AT&T just bought Warner Brothers and HBO. You know, it's. I was in a film. It was like a year and a half ago, I think now, 2 years almost. Directed by the great Steven Soderbergh, and he flew us into New York. It's called High Flying Bird, and it's on Netflix.
Okay.
The entire film was shot in 2 weeks with 5 iPhone 7 Pluses.
Yes, a lot of people going that route. A lot of people.
When they did the dolly shots, they put them in a wheelchair and rolled them around.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's nothing stopping us today, except us.
Ooh. That's deep. That is deep. Ladies and gentlemen that's watching right now, you hear Mr. Duke. Bill has told you only thing that's stopping you is you, because Mr. Duke is correct. Bill is correct. We have access to so many ways to record ourselves. And instead of us recording ourselves doing some silly mess all the time,
That's right.
Why not get yourself out there? If you're trying to get into this industry, get yourself out there. Your phone, you're watching this probably on a phone or a laptop right now. You probably are. Use it. Use it for the good. Don't say I can't afford this equipment. The equipment is in your hand or right in front of you right now. And you heard Mr. Duke. They did it with iPhone 7s. If you're watching today in the year 2020, iPhone 11s are out now.
Right.
The cameras are way better. If you're an Android person, the cameras are still way better. And look at what they did. I mean, Bill, you're right. The people are giving excuses and we're stopping ourselves from getting where we need to be.
Well, we're I'm not trying to be mean about our culture, but we're great excuse builders, you know. I mean, and I'm not suggesting that segregation and slavery did not have an impact on us. I think genetically it did. But I just saw, it broke my heart so deep last night on Netflix, a documentary entitled "Who Killed Malcolm X?"
I heard about it.
Brother, if you get a chance to see it, it's hard to explain. You know, it's that man was one of the greatest human beings I've ever, the most courageous, and he knew he was gonna die, but he kept going because for us.
Yes.
And children, there are children today, if you say Malcolm X, they have no idea who you're talking about.
Nope.
But that bothers me deeply. But my point is that media is such a powerful tool, and if it's used in a way, I call it edutainment. You know, you can entertain, at the same time give people something to think about or feel about. That's my, and also having the camera is one thing, but having the craft of storytelling. What is the story arc? What are the character arcs? Being able to take the time to study your craft. You know, a pastor of mine once said, you know, everybody want to go to heaven, so nobody want to die. How you gonna get to heaven if you don't die? And the dying is in everybody else is out partying, you studying.
That's true. That's
Big
very
difference.
true.
Big difference, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Everybody wants the end game. They want to get to the end, but they don't want to take the steps to get to where they need to get to in life. And the reason why you're right. You're right. You're definitely right. And that's a deep thing that you just said right there, Bill, because a lot of people don't realize that you can watch people on television. And I would use you for an example real quick, Mr. Duke. People, especially my age and older, we saw Predator. We saw it. We're like, man, I want to be Mac. But do you have the skills to be Mac? You can imitate, but you can never duplicate. And you got to take the steps. You got to take the steps to learn how to act in front of a camera. You got to understand the steps behind the camera. You have to know your industry. And I definitely agree with you with that. I do. Yes. Now, Bill, since I did bring that up, how excited were you when you found out that you did get that role in Predator, in the 1987 movie Predator, the original Predator? How excited were you?
I was blown away, you know. I had done a film with Arnold before that called Commando.
Yep.
And so when he and Joe asked me to come in to talk about Predator, and I read the script, it was like, I hope they give it to me. And they called me agent, and they said yes. And that's when I went down to Puerto Vallarta for a long time. I'll tell you a couple of things about Puerto Vallarta. You know, the Predator that you saw was not the original Predator. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, no. The original Predator was a much smaller creature, more ambidextrous, with lasers coming out of his arms and everything. And the actor had to be on these wires and trees, and they were going to put the special effects on him in post-production. Well, in Puerto Vallarta at that time, sometimes it was 100 degrees or a little more, and he had to have this felt suit on. So he got dehydrated twice and just collapsed, right? Fell out of the. And so the producer comes over to him and says, listen, man, you wasting my time and my money. You pass out one more time, I'm firing you. Wow. He says, man, I'm not passing out on purpose. I'm dehydrated. I can't help it. He said, all right, whatever it is, don't pass out again. 2 weeks go by. He passes out again, falls to the ground. And the producer came over and said, you're fired. That actor was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
My mind is blown. Whoa. I was expecting you to say a B or C rated person that we barely heard of.
No. Jean-Claude Van Damme. His first job in America.
What? Okay. Many guests don't blow my mind. You just got me on that one. Mr. Van Damme, if you're watching this right now, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the point that Bill just messed my head up about this. Wow.
Yeah.
Big shout outs to John Clark.
Shout out to John, man.
Yes. Now, a lot of people want to know, Bill, and we kind of touched on it, but I'm going to need you to reiterate one more time. What is the secret of being relevant from 1972 to 2020 in this business, because a lot of people can't survive over 2-3 years in this business. And you have jumped from television to movie, television to movie. And if you don't believe me and you don't believe what Mr. Duke about to say, go on IMDb and look at the movie credit list, look at the television credit list. Every year you have done something in this industry and keep getting called back. What is the secret?
It's a 3-letter word. God.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, talent, discipline, yes, those are elements. But the God that is in my life every day,
Yes.
I do not take for granted. I do not, how can I say? I don't, Wayne Dyer, who's a spiritual teacher online, has this saying. He said, each day of your life, you have one of two choices. You can be a host of God or a hostage to your ego.
Deep, deep, deep. And you're so right about that. Because God give you the choice to live your life the way you want to.
Right.
You can live by God's will, or you can go your own route. And this is proof, people. If you have God in your life, look at what can happen for you. Mr. Bill Duke is humble. You're a humble man. I can tell you that.
Thank you.
And it's to the point where it's nothing but God is pushing you through this. And Bill, me and you, we don't have to name names, but in your head right now, I guarantee you could think of 3 or 4 people that seem like they had the talent, but they couldn't even last less than over 5 years in this industry because of decisions that was made through them themselves. Am I correct about that?
Of course, it's a, how can I say, in terms of surviving,
yes,
there are certain things that you have to have in you, some principle that says, I want to do this, but I know the money is there, but I can't do that.
Right.
And you make your agents mad, you make everybody mad, but there are certain things that you want to keep sacred within yourself.
Yes.
And respect for yourself. And so you make choices. And would you like to make a lot more money? Of course, we all like money, but I look at some of the younger people now, especially some young ladies in our industry that are famous.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, wow, their grandbaby's going to see that.
Ooh. Wow. And Mr. Duke, you don't, like I said, you don't have to name no names. I'm thinking of a few of them myself. I am, and you are dead on it. You're really dead on it. And the thing is, and you speaking about grandbabies, I'm gonna twist it just a little bit. There are some people that had kids in this industry that could easily just step in saying, I am the son or daughter of XYZ. And they will get the role automatically, but then they will still mess it up by following wrong footsteps that they should not follow. And it's to the point where it hurts. It hurts. And I'm going to tell you why, because there's a lot of people that don't have any people or relatives that's in this industry, and they're trying their best to get in. And these other people are taking it and swallowing it and just throwing it away.
That's
and
right.
Yeah, I can't, I don't like it myself that's happening. And Big shout out to everybody that's giving a honest living or honest try to get into this show. I mean, into this business. So I got to give a shout out to that. Now, Bill, let me ask you this. We go fast forward to 2020 and 2019. You are in Black Lightning. No secret about that. You have came through and you have took over the scene, it seemed like, on a lot of this stuff on Black Lightning, season 3 of Black Lightning. Now, what is the environment like when the cameras are not rolling on Black Lightning? When with the cast and the crew, how is it like when nobody can see it?
It's one of the most, and I'm not just blowing smoke, but it's one of the most kind, healing, wonderful experiences I've ever had with a crew and a cast. I mean, they are, the actors are wonderful there. Cress and Christina and all the other folks, and humble. They don't take nothing for granted. They come to work every day, and when you're on screen with them, you can't bring 100. You got to bring 1,000%.
That's true.
1,000. No, they don't play.
Yes.
Even the young girls and stuff. I mean, they're in it, and so it's something that feel very fortunate to be a part of at this point. But they've just been approved for 4th season.
Yes.
Yep, and I got shot, but in the spleen, so they may bring me back. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, you coming back? The ASA ain't gonna survive without you. You coming back?
I love the character because he's not a character that cares what you think about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his job. He doesn't expect you to understand.
Right.
And what he has to do, he does. And he's condemned a lot. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that he gets the job done. And so, his moral fiber may be questionable, but it's not questionable to him.
Right.
And so it's an interesting character, It reminds me of a show years ago on HBO called Dexter. You remember Dexter?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Dexter was a serial killer. Mm-hmm. He was killing people that were worse than him.
Yep.
So your judgment of him was, and you rooted for him. You're saying, I'm rooting for a serial killer. But the guy he killed kids.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it was. And so, anyway, I love being there. I love the role, and Oz Scott and Pat Charles and other people that are there. They run the show, and Salim Akil. They're all great people, man. So I enjoy it.
Big shout outs to the whole cast and crew of Black Lightning. We're waiting for season 4. Season 3 is still going right now, but still, I am so glad that season 4 is coming. Keep going, people. I'm so happy for all of you. Yes, I believe we want to see Bill Duke back. I'm not giving a spoiler because I don't even know. I'm just speaking in that faith that we want to see Bill back on this show. We definitely are. Yes. Now, Bill, there's something that you're doing that a lot of people probably don't know about, but a lot of people do. And I want you to touch base on this, and that's the Duke Media Foundation. What is the Duke Media Foundation, and how is this helping out kids and the youth all around?
Thank you so much for bringing that up, because that's my passion.
Yes.
Duke Media Foundation has been in existence for the past several years. And we teach 2 things. Media literacy,
okay,
which is a lot of people are coming into the business, but doesn't understand that it's a business. And they have passion, and, I look this way or da-da-da-da-da-da. But their heads are still like, I want to be a movie star. And they're thinking like 15 years ago, and they get slaughtered. And so what we teach them is that, number one, as I said before, they don't have to wait to be discovered. They can discover themselves.
Right. Right.
And number two, we teach them the craft of filmmaking and also the craft of things like, programming. We bring in programmers, coders, different people to expose them to what is this new world, so that they're thinking within the context of the reality of what's really going on today, not 10 years or 15 years ago, but today. And then we teach financial literacy, which is Karen A. Clark, who is a good friend of ours and a banker, and she breaks financial literacy down. In other words, we talk about not only how to spend a dollar, but how do you use a dollar?
Okay.
What is the FDIC? What is debt? What is credit? What is Wall Street? What is a bond? What is a stock?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the parents come to those lectures because they want to know more about financial literacy also. Because as you know, whether it's sports or the film industry or whatever it is, and without mentioning any names, but people have made hundreds of millions of dollars and almost gone broke.
Yes.
And we don't want our kids to keep going that direction. So we try to teach them the value of how to use money to your benefit. And those are the only two things we teach.
Now, is this only for, I know you said the adults come in, like the parents, but is this only specified for the youth only, or can adults actually join this program also?
No, for the youth.
Okay.
It's we in LA, man, all you gotta do is go downtown to certain streets, and when I say homeless, see tents. Some don't have tents, sleeping on sidewalks, going through garbage cans for food. And people assume that they're all older people, and they're not. Some of them are kids who have gone out of foster care and they don't have any place to go, so they end up on the streets, and kids who refuse to learn or stay in high school can't get a job on the streets. It's a cold-blooded world. You and I know that, man.
Yes.
And you and I know ain't nobody coming to save us.
That's true.
So some of the things you see are just I don't know.
Yes. Now, if you're in the LA area, people, and if you're an adult watching this and you have kids, or if you're a youth that's watching this episode right now, please, please, please reach out to the Duke Media Foundation. Get in this while you can, because this is a great learning tool for everyone to learn. And whatever you learn, and the youth is in the class right now, whatever you're learning right now in the Duke Media Foundation, take it back to your parents. Take it to your aunts, your grandparents, your cousins. Teach them what you are learning, especially in the financial situation part of your learning, because everyone worldwide needs to know this. And if you're fortunate enough to be in LA, you're in Cali, if you got this great teaching right now, don't turn it down. Please don't turn it down.
Thank you so much for that, because I want to say one more thing about it.
Yes.
And that is we have a website online, and we're redesigning the website right now, but you can definitely reach us through the website. And also, can I give a number out?
Go.
213-359-6049. 213-359-6049. We need your support, and our children need, unfortunately, one of my people on my board and my staff teaches in schools in LA. Not all, but there are a number of schools that are graduating students from high school with second grade reading skills. How do you survive in a global economy with second grade reading skills. It's called prison.
Right.
So we have to find a way to intervene, to I don't know the words necessarily, but to do whatever. Not, I'm saying we're going to save the world, but whatever little chip we can put in,
Yes.
we have to do it.
You're right.
We have to do it.
You're right. And Mr. Duke, it's not. It is about saving the world, but at the same time, it's about taking one step at a time to become a better person.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like you're teaching that. And that's what I love about this. Now, Mr. Duke, also going to throw that website out there. If you gave the phone number, what's the website? They want to check it out after this show.
The DukeMediaFoundation.org.
All right. Now, how can your fans and your supporters find you or follow what you're doing on social media? What's the best way for them to follow you?
On Instagram, everything, real Bill Duke.
Okay.
And they can just, Facebook, I'm just, how can I say, I'm rebuilding all of that.
Okay.
Because, I have some people that are on board now helping me redesign, rebuild, reconnect, because sometimes when I get really busy, I get so overwhelmed with what I'm doing. It's hard to, because social media takes a daily, you're an expert, so it's hard work.
It is.
It's hard work.
Yes, it is.
It's one thing to be there, but another thing to let people know you're there. It's a whole.
It's a different monster, a different beast. Yes, it is.
I'm getting some help now, so that's why it's,
No problem. Everybody that's watching worldwide right now, make sure you go check out Mr. Bill Duke on Instagram. Follow him. Where he actually announced that he will be in season 4 of Black Lightning. We're going to find out. You got to check it out. Follow him on Instagram. You will find out what else he's actually got going on. Also, don't forget, once again, that Duke Media Foundation. Make sure you keep up with that also. Now, Mr. Duke, I know you're a busy person, so we're not going to hold you much longer. But what advice would you give any male or female that wants to get into the movie or television industry? It doesn't matter if they want to be an actor, actress, producer, director, filmmaker. What advice would you give them?
Well, I'll say two things. One, I've written a book called Bill Duke, 40 Years in Front of and Behind the Camera. And in that book, there are nuggets of information that I think can be very, very helpful. So tell them to please check it out. They can get it on Amazon online, or they can go to a bookstore. Bill Duke, 40 Years in Front and Behind the Camera.
Get the book.
Thank you. But there are, I always love people that are wiser than me, and I love quotes. So can I give you 3 of them? Because if I were to give people advice, yes, learn the craft of filmmaking, acting, producing, writing, coding for apps, etc. I mean, definitely learn that. But this is a business of rejection and pain many times. So it takes something else internally for you to survive and get through a lot of what you're going to face. And so there are 3 of my favorite quotes, and I'll say it's by Anonymous. Number 1, aspire to inspire before you expire. Number 2, if a man does not seek humility, humility will seek the man.
Wow.
And
Predator.
That's right. And the 3rd one, in your lifetime, you will never see a smaller package than a person wrapped up in themselves.
Wow. You have brought nuggets. You have brought valuable information on this thing, on this show today. Mr. Duke, I want to say thank you very much
God bless
for
you.
coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, I would love to have you back on in the future also.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Duke, last segment of the show is called Take the Floor. Now, Bill, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to say whatever you want to say. There's no questions asked. The floor is yours. Mr. Duke, take the floor.
Well, in this era of Make America Hate Again, I would love for people to begin to think about their children and their children's future. I'm very disturbed by a lot of the things I see. It's important for us to think about more than ourselves and our money and our boats and cars and all those material things. But in terms of the planet itself, if you just look at the news today and see what's happening around the world, Australia, Mississippi, there are signs of the planet changing in a way that's very disturbing, and there's an urgent need for us to take action. So I hope, although there are people who say, global warming is a myth, and so therefore I don't have to get an electric car, I can just stay in my Zoom or whatever it is, and it's all going to go away. I hope it's not too late, so I pray that that happens. Number two, in terms of the values we're passing down to our children, I hope that we think about it more deeply. I want them to inherit something that is more than material, but a value system that they can pass down to their children. And last but not least, I hope that we can understand that this whole concept of racism and classism is the dumbest, most ignorant thing that you can speak out of your human mouth. Because in the final analysis, we are all just a gray, and it's called a skeleton. Mm-hmm. Underneath all of this is a commonality. When you die and I die, right? Mm-hmm. A white guy dies, an Asian guy dies, an Hispanic guy dies, an Arabic guy dies, and all this flesh goes away. We're gray.
Wow. Back to the dust you go. Wow. Mr. Duke, thank you once again. Thank you for everything. Thank you for coming on this episode. Thank you for the deepness that you brought through this show also. Like I said, I know you're a busy man. I just want to thank you again for coming. Everyone that's watching worldwide, take heed everything that Mr. Bill Duke said. Once again, go check out Duke Media Foundation. Get the book that he wrote. Make sure, go to Amazon, get it. You want to make sure, if you want to get in this industry, learn. You heard nuggets today. If you was at McDonald's, you just ordered you a 40-piece nugget. That's what you just did today. If you go compare it to food, that's what you did today. Mr. Duke, I want to say you have a great day, and thank you for coming on. And until the next time, people, season 8 is starting off. Stay tuned. Make sure you do check out who the next guest is. Until next time, everybody, on the Big Scoop with Coop.